Good day, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR-ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening, as we're here now on Thursday, the 19th of October, 2023. Before we go too far, let's talk about where we're at. We have been trading a market that we had gotten into earnings season. We saw the banks did great. Now we're starting to see companies getting hurt. Tesla, one of the Mag 7, down today rather sharply. We did see a good one come out with Netflix. That took off to the upside. But then we're starting to see rail companies. One does well, the other doesn't do well. We're starting to see some tech companies falling back. And if you look behind me, you pretty much have a lot of red. No, we've got Netflix up. Come on, I just said that. Up nicely, a big move, 16%. They don't get that. That's not normal. And a huge move down, almost 10% in Tesla. $22 on a 220 price, and you're down $22. That's a big break, all right? So as I look at the market, I'm wondering what the heck is going on, and I think I got it. What we've done is we have swung gears because of what happened a week ago Saturday. It's almost 2 weeks ago as of this Saturday, with the breakout of the war in Israel. And the market moved. It's always had a certain element of geopolitics behind it, the Ukraine war, but that fell off. It got going, and then, as you know, it's just a matter of every day keeping up. Were they advancing? Weren't they? How much money did we have to give them? Did they capture back a little piece of land? Things of that nature. That died to the backside. I hate to say it, it's just the way it is. For the people of Ukraine, it's terrible, obviously. But being very cold and saying what's going on. And then we sort of went back to the market. Is the Fed going to move rates? Isn't it going to move rates? What are they doing? We saw the 210 go out as what? I think in 2021, it was like 150 basis points if you go on some of the charts. It certainly got back over 100, and now it's back under 20. So what the markets are doing is there's a monstrous shift. Why? Because money supplies come down. It's going to keep coming down if you think about it. We did helicopter money during COVID. So we're at the other side of that now where the Fed is tightening. It's taking back the money. Every time there's a runoff of a bond or a note that they're holding, they're not buying it again. So they're taking it off. And then the marketplace is looking at what's going on. So that's the monetary part. But the geopolitical part is exploding in our face. And it's right in the area where now the U.S. is again thrust into another war. Like it or not, the fact that when our president says we stand by Ukraine, we stand by Israel, you are throwing yourself right into that war. The difference is, and there's a huge difference, throwing yourself against Russia is a lot different than the Wild West of the Mideast. And that is breaking out, as you can see. It's all over the news. You get to these countries, the embassy's under attack. If you're an American and you want to go to the Mideast, I wish you the best, because just the fact that you're an American, forget being Jewish, just an American now standing with Israel against Palestine has gotten you suddenly into a real problem. It isn't safe for the time being. It's that simple. Well, it's not safe in the market, because the market is looking for this. Now, tonight is going to give you one form of a crescendo. You'll get another afterwards. The first one, when the president goes on the airwaves and he says that he wants $100 billion, I'm assuming 60 or so is going for Ukraine, 10 or more goes for Israel, and he'll throw in some money on the border, even though he doesn't want it, because in order to get any money, he's probably got to do something about the border. How's that going to play abroad? The anger that'll show up in all the embassies, against the embassies of America and American interests in Mideastern countries will explode. It has nothing to do with the fact that Hamas attacked Israel. It has to do with the fact that Israel suppressed Palestine for 75 years. That is the viewpoint there. You have to understand the different viewpoints. That's modern time. We go back to biblical times, it's a whole different world, right? Because everybody wants the Holy Land. Well, the land itself was worthless other than from the point of view of religion. It was arid. Israel made it better. Now the question is, when it's all done, honestly, can you take the rubble that's going to be left out of Gaza and make it as good type of land as Israel has? Somewhere along the line, this too will pass, and that's what you have to hope for. But in the meantime, it dawned on me why the markets are doing this. As a chartist, you can't trade geopolitics. You can't trade the economics. The geopolitics come at you all hours of the day. It's like, there's an earnings report and you're not getting it right now. So you may not agree with my take on it, but I think it's common sense, and I think that's what you're facing right now. So, two elements, geopolitics, earnings season, and now we're starting to see the cracks for the very first time. The cracks are starting to show up in the earnings season. Not every company will be bad, you know that, but you're starting to see the cracks. Why? Because at these levels of interest rates, companies have a very difficult time, and what were great companies suddenly become very humble companies. All right, let's go to the charts. Amazon. I would expect Amazon's going to trade around for a while. It's the reason I brought the chart up. We know that we're going to get the Black Friday event, but we got to get to it. So in order to get to it, as I look at the charts, right now you've got a downtrend in play. You can see the crazy action you had today. That's a pretty big range today for this stock. You were only down a quarter, but you were a $5 range. That's a good size range on it. And notice the battle. The battle has been, you have come back to a combination of the 18-day average and the 200-day. The 200's right here. Over here, I said that wrong. It's the 18-day. I thought that was another line. It's right here. It's the Bollinger Band that I'm going to look for. I think that the Bollinger Bands have suddenly gone sideways, which often we get in charts before they decide to make a move. So I think you're going to ramp up and do this. You're going to spin around right here. You'll go from overbought to oversold, back and forth, fighting a battle. I don't think it's ready to break out to the upside. I think it's very contained right here. Then in Rivian, well, all the auto manufacturers are feeling the pain. If an electric vehicle maker like Tesla is down hard today, 10%, how are you going to hold up these other stocks? Down 5%. That's my point. It's not that they came out with something bad today, but when the leader isn't good, all the followers aren't good either. It would be highly unusual because these are startup companies. These aren't the mature EV companies. Only Tesla makes money that I'm aware of on every car they manufacture. The other EV manufacturers in America do not make money. By the way, that's the big boys too, the big three. When you go to UGA, the gasoline fund, anything with energy, you got geopolitics. You want to be on the short side of that? I don't. I don't know what's going to happen, but what's going to happen if there's a surprise? It's bullish, not bearish. They cut off oil. Somehow a well gets blown up. Something happens. No. You don't want to be on that side. That's why it's coming up. It's not that there's more demand for the gasoline right now. I don't buy that at all. I think it's geopolitics that have stepped in there. In the XLF, as we take a look here on the financials, back and forth. You went up and made a classic challenge and failed against the 200-day, the 100-day, and the upper Bollinger Band, and now you're void of a trend. So you had this one spurt back up in a market that fell hard, rallied about 50%, and is falling again, and momentum is down in the chart. I didn't say the trend. Momentum is down in the chart. We then go to XLI. This market also is void of a trend. It is trading within the Bollinger Bands. It went from the bottom band, ultimately it was riding it, to the upper band, and now back and forth and whipping around. This is why, if you're a trend trader, you're having difficulty right now. I think you'll say that to yourself. I know the technique that I developed for watching markets, and I take my subscribers and I'm going, what changed? Why has this suddenly gotten harder? Every now and then, I'm dumb. The light switch had to go on. Geopolitics, staring me in the face. The game isn't trading off the economics, earnings, or any of that. The geopolitics, for the moment, have taken center stage. I think it'll get worse before better until the crescendo. What's the crescendo? Because I started off saying that and I didn't finish. Israel, in some manner, putting the army into Gaza. Whenever that happens, you can imagine the outrage that's going to happen around the world in Arab countries. In America, it's happening. College campuses, protests. I live in Chicago. Thousands of people were at the Daily Center. They're all for the Palestinians, and they're doing that. And then the Jewish people are rallying against them. You've got all this going on, one side and the other. The word is not, I'm not saying who's right and wrong. That's not it. Please understand that's not it. It's geopolitics as market traders. This video is not about my thoughts, your thoughts, anybody's thoughts on who's right, who's wrong. They're all wrong. Really, they're all wrong. I really believe that. And they're all right. Everybody wants and they should have, and everybody's wrong because they want to take it from the other person. They got to figure it out. And they never will. We won't be here. If it's gone on thousands of years, what makes you think it's getting solved right now? So I look at it and I go, okay, but how long do geopolitics typically last? This is not, thank God, a world war. Could it become one? I don't know. The fear is that it'll bring in other players. You know who the other player is. It's Iran. That's the fear. I don't think anybody's worried about if some people out of Syria come into it, if Hezbollah comes into it. It's all about, does Iran come, and does that bring in China and Russia? That is the biggest fear if it would ever come to that. Do I think so? No. But is that called the geopolitics? Absolutely. And I think the crescendo happens because when Israel does whatever they're going to do, I pray they don't go in. I have said that repeatedly here. If they go in, the culmination of that, however it goes on, be a week, a month, whatever it is, they're not going to occupy the land. It will end, and you're back to whatever you were before. Could I be wrong in this whole analysis? You can count on it. I'm the original Mr. Swiss cheese. Plenty of holes in my theories, but I think that's where we're at. When I take a look at AI, again, I don't care what NVIDIA does. That is the one stock you want to own on the break at the right moments, or you buy a little here, you buy a little there, because you say, I'm never going to figure out the chart action. AI's here, AI's coming. Every service I'm using, Adobe, Crowdfire, Microsoft, they're all offering me now AI's. Pay this amount of money. Here's what they're going to do. So far, they're all doing the same thing. It sounds so strange. But if you do videos like I'm doing, they'll put text on the bottom. Well, they all put now text. You think they didn't have that here until the word AI came? It became sexy in a way they could start charging for it. They've had this software. They've had all that gears. What they haven't had is probably the right chips to do this on a scale basis in the cloud and get it all done. I'm doing it on my computer, then I post and it's done. They have figured out how to do that, and that I give them all the credit for. And do I use it? Absolutely, I do use it, okay? I am learning it like everybody else. But what you've got here is a sideways market. You've come down a big way. We had the summertime where anything you owned in AI, you were going out and buying your Lamborghini. The market just exploded for you. You happened to be at the right place at the right time. And now what the market is doing is it's the beginning stage of starting to say, we have fallen. Maybe this is where some values are. In RSP, the consumer, we keep hearing the death of the consumer. They don't die. All right, they get jobs. They spend like there's no tomorrow. But we're starting to hear that maybe they're not buying as much as we thought. They're buying, but not as much as we thought. What do we just hear from a certain element of Tesla? Not everybody's going out and buying a $40,000 to $120,000 car. I hope you agree with that. But even that consumer, Tesla's saying, the consumer's pulling back, and that's why the stock is falling back. They're telling you the story. Home builders, why do you think they're down? 8.03% mortgages today. Now, do you think they're going to 12%? Are they going to go up another 50 from here? Probably not. So This will come down and we'll find the value area. It will happen. But right now it's got to weigh on that. This is not geopolitics in the home builders. This is geopolitics on the energy. So the energy's making its move, trying to figure out what to do. Yesterday, the move was about, Venezuelan oil's coming. The reality is it's nowhere near coming. There's an awful lot to do to get production up, and OPEC Plus said that today in the market. But I'm going to repeat, geopolitics, oil, they go hand in hand out of the Mideast, right? Market moving up. You don't want to be short those type of markets. At least that's my opinion. Gold, same thing. Is gold moving because interest rates are up and the dollar is strong? Get serious. This is geopolitics. The fear. What do you do? What do you do if you wake up in the morning and God knows what happens? And it can happen. The president's going to talk tonight. What's the reaction going to be around the world when he's asking for that money to fund these wars? That's what we've got to see. SLV, same thing. You're overbought. Where would you put a stop? I see a lot of resistance. I mean, as a trader, if it weren't the geopolitics, I'm telling my accounts, hey, you're up to the 100-day average, 200, the Bollinger Band. I don't care if it goes higher. You're supposed to be coming out. And how many times did you hear me say that on this? Geopolitics, for brief periods of time, can make anything happen. When we come into copper, so now we're starting to hear, and remember, what's the canary in the mine for production, industrial production in the world? Copper. Copper. And now we're hearing from Freeport, they're going to roll back and stop producing as much because the demand isn't there. All you and I heard up until this earnings report for Freeport was there's a shortage around the world and the supplies are running down. We heard about the Peruvian issues, the Chilean issues. We heard it. Then we started seeing how China's slowing down. They're 50% of the consumption of copper. And it's just a question of time when that worked in. It's finally doing it. So the copper market, no, it's not like the others. This is a market that suffers from the geopolitics and from the high interest rates. TLT. This is the market rushing to find the real value for where U.S. interest rates belong. I don't know what the value is. You're at the Bollinger Band. In normal markets, all I'd be saying is I'd be telling my traders, you're not embedded. This is where the pros take profit. I don't know with the geopolitical situation. I at least recognize it. I know what I'm into. Been here before. The Iraqi war, I had to go back and look at my notes when that was happening. How did it impact the markets? UUP and the dollar. So the dollar suddenly stalled out. If you take out 29.77, you could fall back to 29.61. Big deal. You're caught in sideways action. This is a 20, 30 cent trade. That's all it is out of a $29 stock either way. It's going probably nowhere temporarily. Now, you would think if bad things happen overnight, the dollar gets a bid when we wake up in the morning. I don't know. Next, FXE. Why is it getting a bid against the dollar? It's U.S. interest rates that are going higher and so on. So it could be people don't want to own the dollar because of the geopolitics. I'll let it be confusing. As a chartist, I throw the name off. It's in an uptrend until yesterday's low. That is Wednesday's low is taken out. And the first objective is 98.19, the upper Bollinger Band in the market. So you put it together. The name of the game is how do you find what you might want to do or not want to do? And that's where this comes in. This morning, when I put out the morning video, it was as timely as can be. I said, folks, I realized what we were in. We're in geopolitics. I said, if there's a tool that you want to use during the day for this in and out trading, it's this. Open it up on your charting software, put in QQQ, SPY, take a look at the swings that it's doing. I know what it did in the futures. And this is what the traders are now using. Why? Because this is a hit and run market. This is not a position market right now, especially going into this weekend again, when at any time we don't know first what the president's going to say. Israel put out an order today to all its troops, get ready. Well, why are they saying that? All right. They're not saying it, get ready to party. They're telling them get ready to go in, all right? This is not good. Remember how to work this. You have your center line. Today's range sets up the center lines. Then you get sells above the market, buys below the market. They're called R1, R2, and S1, S2. When you put them all together, and the lines will look just like this. Let me stop this. That's how they're going to look on the chart. Well, what I figured out to do years ago, because like every trader, I've tried my hand at day trading, point and figure trading, position trading. I've tried everything over the decades. I'm 54 years in this game. So there's nothing I haven't tried at some point, and I have found many things that don't work. This is one of the things I found that stuck with me. You get your center line, and I'm looking for the momentum turns in the market. So some people will say, you always buy the S1, support one. No, you don't. Momentum will tell you, look for the turn in it. And then if the turn doesn't produce the rally, you got to come out of the market. If it produces the rally, you're trying to get back here. If you get your sells up here, you're trying to come out at the center line. The center line is your home line. You're not trying to go from the bottom to the top. You're trying to play it that way. If you've traded this, you understand it. Well, what I did that was different and that I bring to you is I show you how to use my slow stochastics with it. But my version of slow stochastics is not the same version you have. I modified it. I went to the man that developed it, George Linn. Look him up on your Investopedia and all. Showed him what I had done, showed him my concept. And I knew George pretty well. And he went, wow, that's different. And he says, that's what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to modify things, find what you like. Same with Bollinger Bands. Go to John Bollinger Band's site. He plays with all kinds of things with his Bollinger Band. Same type of things. So you put it together. I put this together in a free course for you to learn because it leads you into my other courses. My Arun indicator, it's going to bring you also into then my slow stochastics, my enhanced Bollinger Bands, the outside day. One of the things you see all the time on a chart you don't pay attention to. It stares you in the face, and what a neat tool an outside day is. Well, that's under education on our website. So you go to IraEpstein.com. This will be in the free offer area. You can move your cursor here. And if you want to see the other courses that I have, go to the education area as well. I'm Ira. You have a good day. I'll see you in the morning.